Die Lunge, das Herz, die Ventrikularkammer und natürlich die Leber.
Ah, Mr. Crimner, you must forgive us. We were so preoccupied with Mr. Durer's lesson.
I can well imagine it.
I'm Andreas Osiander, by the way. And this is Nürnberg's genius, Mr. Albrecht Dürer.
Sir.
And my niece, Katharina Prue.
Madam.
We are establishing here in Nürnberg, Mr. Crimner, a Christian Commonwealth. You will find that many things are different. For example, there are no more private masses. We have been liberated from thousands of years of slavish adherence to the Roman Church. No longer do we need to worship images and false idols. Mr. Dürer's work exemplifies our beliefs.
He means this is a rabbit, not a symbol of something more than itself. It doesn't represent anything except itself. Its lungs, its heart and liver, its eyes, fur, they're all real. They're all rabbit. But the rabbit, humble as it is still, like all of us, one of God's creations. So the more and better we study it, the closer we arrive at God's great design. Frankly, I would rather have a rabbit than a painted statue of a saint any day. It reveals God's glory a great deal more.
Indeed. I only wish they did not eat all my lettuces.
Well, what a truly exciting intellectual vermin you have created here.
It's not just intellectual. As a cleric, Mr. Cranmer, you might find it interesting to know that here in Nuremberg, the clergy are allowed to marry. We find it a more honorable and more fulfilling course for a priest.
Ha!
Look at that. I've had to add an extra panel to all my skirts.
What are you complaining about?
It's ruining my figure.
You ought to thank God you find yourself in such a condition. What's wrong with you?
Wait. Madge, tell me, did you console the king? Madge, I told you. I'm not angry with you. It's all right. Say something. Leave now. Yes, madam.
We'll have to find some other way. It is imperative that we do not create martyrs out of men. I mean, every other way no longer matters to the world.
What other way is there?
We'll go and visit Sir Thomas's wife and family. They can be encouraged to persuade him. After all, if he is accused of treason...
Mr. Secretary, Lady Mary Boleyn.
Lady Mary. What can I do for you?
Mr. Secretary, I came because I wish to be reconciled to the Queen. I confess freely that in my dealings with the world, love overcame reason. That is my fault, and I beg my sister's forgiveness. After all, she above everyone should know about marrying for love.
Lady Mary, forgive me, but you should not presume upon the Queen's good graces, nor ever assume that forgiveness is lightly given.
I do not so presume. I'm only...
I cannot say, but it may be that the Queen is not minded of forgiveness in this matter.
But you will ask her. You must ask her. Then perhaps, Mr. Cromwell, you can tell Her Majesty that I might have had a greater man of birth, but I could never have had a man that loved me so well. And...
Yes.
tell her that I would rather beg my bread with him than be the greatest queen alive.
Why do you weep?
In no way. Because she who has been Queen of England will tomorrow become a queen in heaven.
Our faithful people have accepted the King's pardon and gone home. And now, my friends, brothers, I humbly ask that you no longer call me your captain.
We are agreed. From now on, we will all wear no badge or sign, but the badge of our sovereign lord.
I hear the king has developed a great passion for houses.
Indeed. I confess he is very greedy to have the funds from the sale of the monasteries, so he can spend them on buying more houses, or enlarging those he already possesses. Forgive me. I meant to speak no ill of the king, but the fate of the abbeys and monasteries still touches me.
Do you not think it still touches me? One day, perhaps, if God wills it, I will have the power to restore them.
Then, my lady, you would rightly inherit heaven's graces. There is, in any case, one great estate which His Majesty cannot get his hands on, although he would gladly have it by any means.
Whose estate is that?
Your mother's. Since he swore in every court in Christendom that he was never legally or properly married to her, then he has no legal claim to it.
I suppose that annoys him. I still dream about my mother. I wish I could have seen her before she died.
And yet you had another mother. Did not Lady Salisbury look after you with a gentle care?
She did, and I shall always be grateful.
Then look after her. They say the king is violently angry against her son, Cardinal Pole. It means Lady Salisbury and her whole family are in the greatest danger.
My lady, would you mind if I asked you some questions?
Forgive me.
No, please. My English is not perfect, but I am learning from an English tutor.
Where did you grow up? Here in Cleves?
Yeah, with my mother mainly. She was a good mother, but how to say, a little strict. My sister, Amelia, and I, we were kept away from the world. She was very careful after us. We did not see too many people.
So tell me, what do you like doing?
Doing? Ah, yeah, doing. I like very much to sew. I am sewing a lot every day.
And what else?
What else?
Do you like to dance? Do you like music?
Music? I cannot sing or play music. Of course not.
Why do you say of course not?
Because in my country, women are considered very light and not nice if they are learned at school or have any knowledge of music. Is it not the same in England?
How like you this woman? Do you think her so fair and of such beauty as has been reported to me?
Tell me the truth. She was not quite as I had expected, Majesty. In fact, she had some freckles I had not expected.
Alas, who should men trust? I promise I have seen nothing of the things that were shown to me. I'm ashamed that men have praised her as they have done. I like her not!
Lady Otford?
Madam. I cannot help asking. Since you have slept with the king a whole month, if the marriage is consummated.
What business is that of yours, Lady Otford?
Majesty, if you are still a maid, then I could explain to you certain things about men, about ways that you can...
Must it be my fault, Lady Otford? It does not matter. Your Majesty must not be so sad. It's no matter to me. I think it will be good, in good time.
Eminence, this is Mr. William Grey. He has only lately arrived in Rome, but was most anxious to meet you. He has no weapons, Eminence.
Mr. Grey, what can I do for you?
Eminence, I hope you will forgive me for seeking you out. The fact is, I was a servant of Thomas Cromwell for many years, but at last I listened to my conscience. I've left everything behind and come to Rome, the better to serve God and the true church.
You are most welcome. We English Catholics are a large and growing community here in Rome. Tell me, how does Mr. Cromwell fare with his master? We hear rumors that the king is losing faith in his minister.
Your Eminence is well informed. Lord Cromwell is surrounded by many enemies who perpetually seek his downfall and ruin. His position is tottering.
Praise be to God. I look forward to the time when his many misdeeds will be punished. The day will come, Mr. Grey, when the Lord Privy Seal will feel the pain of all those that he has sent to die. And on that day, Londoners will witness one of the most joyous entertainments ever offered to them.
Dormi insomno patches.
Poor Princess Elizabeth.
Why do you say so?
The king has reduced her household again. Now Lady Brian looks after the prince. I fear she will be neglected, as I was.
You were neglected?
Yeah, of course. I was only a girl. What else?
Mr. Sheriff, you've investigated this matter. What are your conclusions?
Majesty, I find in all probability that a groom of Your Majesty's private chamber, that is Mr. Thomas Culpepper, did 2 days ago rape Elizabeth Roper, wife of Sir William's park-keeper. Then later the same Mr. Culpepper, or one of his companions, murdered Richard Roper, park-keeper, who had gone to arrest him.
And does this Elizabeth Roper, has she testified under oath?
Yes, Your Majesty.
And Mr. Culpepper, has he confessed himself of these crimes?
No. Mr. Culpepper denies his involvement in either crime.
Sir William, you said that this park-keeper of yours was an honest and trusted servant. You even called him a good fellow.
Yes, Your Majesty. I knew him a long time.
And yet, by all accounts, he misbehaved himself, spoke offensively, and offered violence to a member of my privy chamber. Mr. Sheriff, what other witnesses do you have to these crimes?
None, excepting Mr. Culpepper's companions.
Then it seems to me, without further evidence, you have no grounds to proceed against Mr. Culpepper, who in any case pleads his innocence. Thank you, Mr. Sheriff, for your trouble, and you will be compensated.
Majesty. Is there no longer any justice in this country, Sir William?
Only the king's justice, Master Sheriff. And I fear that.
Lord Surrey, Bishop Gardner, Mr. Risley.
Your Grace.
My Lord Surrey, we find that there are 2 complaints against you. The first is that you have deliberately flouted the fasting laws by eating meat during Lent.
Your Grace, I think you will find I have a license to eat meat whenever I want.
The second charge is that of lewd and unseemly manner in walking the streets at night and breaking windows. How do you answer?
I confess it to be true. I submit myself, therefore, to such punishment as you should think fit.
May we ask why you do such evil things?
Sir, you accuse me of doing evil in London? Whose walls embraced the devil and the 7 deadly sins? where all life is degenerate, where the streets teem with loathsome vice, and yet you still think of me as evil. When I am about God's work, being the very scourge of sin, as the scriptures command us to be.
My Lord Surrey, do you seriously believe that by throwing stones at tavern windows, shouting obscenities and chasing prostitutes, you are doing God's work?
I do. I believe myself to be a prophet, sent to warn the citizens of the fearful thunderclap and dreadful plague which are at hand, if God's wrath is not assuaged.
What is it? What's happening?
Sergeant Porter called Sir Edmund Knivett was found guilty of assaulting one of Surrey's retainers in the Royal Tennis Court. The White Sticks have sentenced him to lose his right hand and forfeit his lands for drawing blood within the verge of court.
Why the cockerel?
Some arcane custom. Has to have its head smitten off on the same block with the same knife. Here comes the Knight Marshal with the culprit.
Sir Edmund Knivett, do you confess yourself of the crime for which you are to be punished? Breaching the king's peace is a most heinous offense. Before all these witnesses, will you admit your guilt?
I admit my crime and throw myself upon the king's mercy. I beg one of you, my lords, go and ask the king if I might lose my left hand rather than my right. For if my right hand be spared, I may afterwards still do much good service to His Majesty.
Very well, I'll go.
There's no need. I've heard everything. I'm touched by your loyalty and your courage, Sir Edmund. Keep your hands. I freely pardon you altogether.
Your Majesty is more than gracious.
I want you.
I wish I could fly. I wish I could just open my wings and fly. Don't you wish you could do that, Jem?
No, my lady. I'd be frightened.
I'm not frightened of anything.
I should like to know, sir, on whose account I am so rudely forced to this horrid place.
Madam, I am Sir Richard Rich, and I'm about His Majesty's business. I must ask you some questions about Catherine Howard, the Queen of England. I take it you remember giving house and board to Catherine Howard when she was younger?
Yes, of course. What has she done?
She's accused of living wantonly and immorally.
In my house?
Did you really know nothing of what went on there?
Dare you? Whoever you are.
Madam, She was a young girl left in your care. She was a child. But several men took advantage of her under your nose and you didn't know? Or worse, you didn't care. Whoever you are.
Your brother, Prince Edward, has sent me a letter. Will you read it to me?
Pardon my rude style in writing to you. Most illustrious Queen and beloved Mother, and receive my hearty thanks for your loving kindness to me and my sister. That's me.
I know. Go on.
Yet, dearest Mother, the only consolation is from heaven, and the only real love is the love of God. Preserve, therefore, I pray you, my dearest sister Mary from all the wiles and enchantments of the evil one.
The evil one? Whatever does he mean? He is but a child still.
He beseeches her to attend no longer to foreign dances and merriments, which do not become a most Christian princess. Why would he say that?
Well, because some religious people think that dancing and merriment are immoral.
Do you?
When we compare the present life of man on earth with that time of which we have no knowledge, it seems to me like the swift flight of a single sparrow through a banqueting hall. Outside, the storms of winter rain or snow are raging. This sparrow is safe from the winter storms. But after a few moments of comfort, he vanishes from sight into the wintry world from which he came. Even so, man appears on earth for a little while, but of what went before this life, or what will follow, we know nothing.
What else, my Lord Hertford?
I would remind your Majesty that the Admiral of France, Claude d'Annebaut, is due to be presented at court to sign your Majesty's peace treaty with France. Majesty, there is one further piece of news from France. King Francis is dying.
Francis? Dying? Dying of what?
Of syphilis, your Majesty.